Steve, it takes guts to drop out like you did.
Higher education comes at the expense of experience.
Hello, welcome to What the Flick. We are here with all of our Apple products to talk to you about jobs. We have our iPhones, Ben's got his iPad. I was sitting there counting while I was watching it, like how many Apple products do I have in my home? All thanks to this genius, played by Ashton Kutcher. Can we talk about this movie for a sec?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that we need to set this up tremendously. This is the story of Steve Jobs' sort of career beginning. We meet him first when he's at Reed College. I didn't know he meets who I thought was his father, James Woods, but I guess isn't. And
It's
then
not his father,
I
is
thought
it?
it was his
professor.
It's just a professor.
Yeah.
Just a professor.
The dad turns up later.
So we get to see James Woods there in the beginning, and it's sort of interesting, and then never again, which was a little puzzling. You get James Woods for the first 4 minutes of a movie doing one scene, and then see ya. So then it charts Steve Jobs' life with these close friends that he has as they start up a computer tech company, which they name Apple, and then its growth sort of step by step, a little bigger, until it becomes Apple, and then we learn sort of Steve Jobs personally, his many personal flaws as he puts the company together and then loses it and then gets it back, and then dies.
It's a computer terminal that hooks up to the TV for the display.
Steve? Wow. Welcome to Apple Computer.
Is this everything?
Startup.
It's a blatant ripoff.
I'm gonna sue you for every cent!
You are your own worst enemy.
The board is unanimous. Steve will no longer be involved in this company.
He doesn't die in the movie.
No, he doesn't die.
But he stages a bloody coup that we all cheer him for. Yay!
Well, so
Overthrew your guard.
the movie ends, like the big crescendo of the movie is the invention of the iMac. Like, remember those stupid candy-colored computers that like were the thing and then went away immediately? That's how the movie ends.
This movie opens with a scene where first of all, it takes him when he loses the company and then gets it back. It really goes from like 84 to 96, basically.
72 to 96.
70.
Right? He's
74,
in college. He's in
74.
college.
74 to 96, but from the company's formation.
I see.
Yeah, sort of. Yeah, that's right. But 72 to 96. But it does open in 2001 with him revealing the iPod. But then we get no iPad, we get no iPhone.
Right.
And no internet. Like, no one ever mentions the internet
No
in
one
this
ever mentions
movie.
the internet. There is, of course, as he's developing the Macintosh, there's the phone cord. You see the where you plug the phone cord in
For dial-up.
for dial-up internet, right? So that was there.
You know, the thing is, like, if you did not own a million Apple products and know the impact that this guy had on the late 20th century, you would not get that from this movie. You would not get why this guy was important. You would not get any context at all for what was the world like before Apple existed and what's the world been like since Apple existed. There's none of that explained in the film, and there's not even really a very deep exploration of it as to why this guy could be a genius, was often a bastard, was devoted to certain people and stabbed other people in the back. I mean, there's one throwaway line about how he was given up for adoption, but that's it. Like, there's no interesting insight at all about this guy.
One line about giving up for adoptions, but adored and supported by his adoptive parents.
Yes.
So I'm sure it's difficult to be given up for adoption and learn that. But again, it wasn't like he clearly, these parents were enormously supportive of him. So I found that it like. And to go with what you said, it was like and I used this line with you yesterday, it's like the unsocial network, aside from the fact that he lacks those skills. But it was so much like this is similar to the social network in the genesis of this incredibly important company. But whereas the social network managed to successfully tell us why this mattered and why it was important, that was never done. And we never saw one thing that this product did that changed anyone's life. It was just like, hey, this is the computer company competing with IBM. This movie could have been about the guys at IBM at the time, and it would have been as interesting.
Yeah,
or
they
not.
could be making widgets, basically.
Right, totally, right.
It's a totally cursory kind of like paint by numbers biopic. It does kind of deify him in the beginning, and then you see what a jerk he is. But part of the problem is that Ashton Kutcher does not have the depth to make this person feel like a full-fledged person. He has two modes. He's either very quiet and kind of introspective and figuring stuff out, or he's very loudly firing his underlings for not completely agreeing with everything he does. And there's like extremes, and he's just not up for it. And a lot of that's the script, and a lot of that is him.
The thing with biopics, when one person you know is playing another person you know, they have to kind of go through that metamorphosis where you stop seeing famous person A and you only see famous person B. Like there was a point in, say, Behind the Candelabra, where after a while I wasn't seeing Michael Douglas anymore. I was seeing Liberace. I never had that moment of switchover with him, partly because Jobs had a certain way of pronouncing vowels that Kutcher does in some scenes, but not in others.
Also, he kind of looks like him with the shaggy hair and the beard and all that. I mean, he looks like himself, rather.
Oh, he looks like true.
He looks like Ashton Kutcher.
It's just so it was distracting because I was paying attention to the fact that I was watching a performance because it was a not consistent performance.
It seems like he really worked on the walk.
He did a little bounce.
Yeah, totally.
He had the walk. Yeah, but I think some of that goes to failing to tell us in the script, in the story, why this company mattered in the last quarter of the 20th century.
And yeah, it's a long movie.
And it just doesn't. I mean, there's one scene where they're at some tech expo that I really hated because it takes you so out of the moment, where he stands up and there's all these other computer companies there. We see like, I don't know, Acer or all these things that people had. Commodore's there, right? We see these other companies, and so it's like a little nostalgic trip for people of our generation, and then he gives his presentation and there's some press there, and then he says, "So, ladies and gentlemen, the Apple II," and then everyone applauds and goes crazy, but they wouldn't. You would have to show what it did. Like, you have to tell us why it mattered. People don't just applaud you saying a name.
Yeah, it tells us but doesn't show us is the problem. Right, it tells us.
Right, it tells us, but he didn't even do anything. Right. Like, even if we'd said, for the first time, I can connect, maybe it wasn't important. Maybe it didn't make any fucking difference. But
no, it's true, because afterward, Dave asked me, he said, "So what did people do with home computers before the internet?" And I was like, well, they word process, and and I was trying to think of.
Tetris.
I was trying exactly. They played video games. I was trying to think of stuff, and I'm sure the thing, that's my ignorance, but the movie surely didn't educate me in that regard and let me know why any of this mattered.
And then there's these big jumps, of just like all of a sudden, like he's a guy who they object at one early job he has where he invents the block game on.
Breakout.
He's
he's at Atari and he invents Breakout, and he apparently he doesn't get along with anybody. He's a jerk, and he has really lousy personal hygiene. But I guess that inference there was that he smelled, not just that he didn't wear shoes. And then that's just dropped. We don't learn how did he adapt? We never see him in a meaningful relationship. We learn eventually that he had kids, and eventually he stopped denying that his first daughter was his.
Big leaps, though.
But all of a sudden,
that throwaway line about him being a fruitarian that it never goes anywhere.
Right, and we see there's some occasionally in some scenes he's got a smoothie on his desk.
The other thing I thought was weird was that he is adopted. I'd forgotten that until you mentioned that he was adopted, but then he rejects his own child. What is that about? It's never explained. No. It's a hugely defining thing about him.
Right, yeah. There's all these ideas that are on the table that just aren't explored at all. They throw away the whole. Bill Gates steals the desktop thing for Microsoft, and that's gone.
Also, incredibly obvious music choices.
Oh, very
propulsive, loud '70s rock to suggest forward momentum.
Right, obvious hit parade stuff, and the score is terrible. It's very great moments with Mr. Lincoln.
I thought we would get an interesting thing about dealing with his daughter and dealing with getting sick, and those things which might have been interesting and revelatory about what kind of guy he was. Just none of that.
This movie's terrible. Okay, so what are our numbers?
You're at a 3.7.
3.7.
4.2.
Why did I say 3.7? Really?
Yeah, I was somehow generous with a 4.5, but I'm rethinking that, frankly.
We could all drop down whole thing.
I'll say 3.
I'm a 3 too. Yeah.
All right, you want to say 3 and make life easy?
I'll give it a 3.5. So we're at 3.2. Right. So we're at 3.2. So I give it a 3.5. You guys give it 3. It's 3.2.
It stinks.
Yeah, it's just not interesting in any way, but it is long.
Josh Gad's good.